and entertainment purposes only. I do not own the right to this content. Section 107 Copyright Act codifies the legal doctrine of fair use, which allows the unlicensed use of copyrighted protected works for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. You can read the full or look at this full clip or watch the shorts. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. The owner of this content is GSL via Allen.
You don't understand what people do. Have you seen that picture of there's like a little baby on the floor? I'll post it. I'll post it. I'll probably get blocked on here again if I put it on my story. But I know you guys have seen this picture. There's a picture of a baby. They got a picture of a bunch of kids tied to a wall. It's actually an auction. They're tied to a wall and they're hanging on the wall. That's another form of an auction. Some auctions are very pretty. Some you get to stand. Some you got to be naked. I had some really weird auctions. Some you have some you're tied to a wall like produce or like retail. And basically like you're picking a t-shirt or you're picking clothes, buyers come through wherever you're at, wherever they put you, and they literally like, okay, there's a white kid, there's a black kid, there's an Indian kid, there's a girl, there's a guy. They check how big your dick is. They check how much space your vagina has. They check your teeth. They check, um, they check your anal cavity. They check everything. They have a taste. They walk into a room and they have basically like how you have, if you walk into a car lot and you're like, can I turn on the car? Can I sit in the car? Can I open the door? Can I sit in the seat? That's literally what's going on in an auction. For children.
There are four fair use factors: purpose and character, nature of the work, amount used, market effect, what material, how. I am not paid for any post, any content. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only under the Section 107 of the Copyright Act. Fair use, which allows the unlicensed use of copyrighted protected works for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, etc. I am against trafficking and would like to continue to bring awareness.
For children, for 6 year olds, for 7 year olds. They walk into an auction and they will say like I will buy for a test sample of two fingers. I will buy for a test sample of a full hand. And they literally get to walk up to a 6 year old and shove their hand up their cooch. That is what we're talking about. Um, you have people. There's a picture of a baby, like maybe 5, 6 years old. It's a little baby boy, and he has a like a leash around his neck, and they're walking him around. And he's butt naked and he's on the floor. Okay, I know everybody has seen this picture before. The thing with that, that's also a test. They will. Somebody will shit on the floor. Somebody will piss on the floor. A guy will come on the floor. A female will masturbate and squirt on the floor, and they will bring in a child to walk through that, to play in it, to
This content is obviously not for children.
lay in it, to put on their body, to lick it, to see if they can walk around and act like a dog, to lick their shoe, to see how well their gag reflexes are. It's a gag reflex check. So if they come in and they're feeling horny and somebody starts jacking off on the floor, and they bring in a child, they're going to check for that child's gag reflex by putting them in the middle of that and seeing if they throw up.
That is filthy, I must say. So there was a clip that basically talks about what an auction is. An auction for human beings. Allegedly, that's what an auction is. Okay, give me a second.
For feeding your
Thank you. How you
mother
doing?
was always dated, was always involved and dated the authority that was around me, whether that was a principal, a county security guard, doctor of mine, someone on a child protective services case, and that includes the chief of police that was coming into my room at night when I was 13, 14. So I was CPS report say that I was 3 months old. I remember as far back as when I was 4, the first time that I was in shock from something that happened to me, the first time that it was just too much for me to handle. And at that time, I didn't know it was so many. It was so much that was already in the family, and I was always told, what happens in the family stays in the family. We were always taken away from certain people if you talk too much. So there were so many things going on within the home from her and other people in the family doing so many things besides doing things to their own children. So it was something that I became I always felt there's something wrong, but I was always told it was normal what was going on. But yeah, I was about 4 years old the first time I was uh, with my babysitter, and this woman as well had many connections to what I call my sir. I don't call her anything close to a mom. I have a real mom that I'm adopted by now, but I don't call her anything close to a mother. But she was involved.
Good evening from
In many
Atlanta.
ways, I was with a babysitter that
Or more like good afternoon.
That kept trying to get me to lay down with her boyfriend. And that's the one day that I remember fighting. I remember screaming so loud. I thought I was 6 years old, but looking back into legal documents, I was 4.
I do not own the rights to this content. I am not doing this for quick bait, clicks, or like. I'm sharing this content to bring awareness because some people skip by it, some people don't know, some people it don't show, or some people don't care about what's going on. Look to your children, watch your children around any and everybody. This is not a hot topic, but this is indeed an important topic. Okay, so I'm just going to play a little bit of the clips from each one because I don't want anyone to think I'm trying to make moves off their content. Let me say it in that way.
For feeding your children to the system. Who? Child Protective Services is guilty. So because you failed as a parent and possibly had your child taken away, even if you were a good parent and you had nothing to do with anything, who are you for CPS being involved in this shit? Who you blaming? never met her, never looked into a background, not nothing. But she fought for me so I could be sitting here today. And fine, don't believe us from the get. Because please, do some damn research. I'm not special. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not anybody special. You should be taking what I said and saying, hey, let me go look into that shit myself. Let me go check. Because what is this? What is this? I just
I'm going to show a few clips, not the entirety of any of them.
Okay, now before.
Okay. Sometimes I have to go back a little bit. Because some people are in fact new to this. Okay, as I said, I'm show a few clips. This is owned by Allie Leonie Carter.
Thank you, Kara. Appreciate you. Okay. I'm going to turn off comments because we don't have that much time, and I'm just gonna try to spit this out. I just want to get some stuff off my chest because I've been drowning in my PTSD. So if there's someone that can screen record this, and I thank you so much for sharing it. Like I said, I'm just gonna turn the comments off so there's no more distractions. There's already enough, right? Cool. So let me see how to do that.
Okay, I'm speed this up a little bit.
I was in the Run This Town music video. I responded with effort.
Okay, let me go back a little bit.
Okay, so here we go. We talked last time about someone saying that I was in the Run This Town music video. Okay. I responded with, at first, I was like, nah. When someone first was like, here, you're at the 438 mark. No. My mom showed me a picture. She just flashed at me, and I was like, huh? And then everybody had to double take for a second. I explained to y'all in the last video that my legal medical diagnosis is dissociative identity disorder. I don't know if that's me. I want justice for whoever that is under that bandana with just their eyes, because clearly somebody needs their justice for something that's there. Don't know. All right. There's people who mistake me all the time for 13 years old. I just want to explain something to you guys, because dissociative identity disorder is one thing, but what we're talking about is the trafficking of children. I was a victim. I'm not telling you guys that I saw something and than this. Yes, there's other victims, but I was a victim of what we're talking about. Okay, and that's not the only thing that we're talking about. The Diddy shit is not the only thing that deserves your attention. Okay, my time that some people are trying to help pull some stuff up for me for is 2007 to 2010. 2010, I was a missing child from the Riverside County Child Protective Services custody. But from 2007 to 2010, that was a rough, very rough time for me. I was born, so it says, in 1994. My birth certificate states 1994. Okay. I'm blessed to say that I'm 30 years old because I wasn't supposed to make it past 16. If you want to dig for something, go look at Snoop Dogg stuff. I'll tell you that. Art candy and party favors run a long way. So if you want to dig for some things, I'll tell you right now that it's been in your face for a very long time. But no, I'm not standing behind Will Smith at what was supposed to be the 1997 VMA Awards. No. But we're getting so wrapped up and so distracted by some stuff. So I really want to kind of once again take y'all back because I know there's a lot of new people and some of you think that you're helping. Okay. Dissociative identity disorder. I want to ask you, what do you think happens to a child after they've been brutally raped and tortured? What do you think? If they get away, do you think that therapy for 3 times a week for an hour with a random stranger is going to help them heal from all the pain that happened in the 5 minutes that is unexplainable and the highlights of the moment that you understand? You understand, right? That these children didn't, the children that we're talking about, the torture that we're talking about, the cover-ups and the distractions that you're going toward.
Excuse me, let me get in here right quick. I can honestly say I wouldn't be able to relate. However, as a survivor of being assaulted, saying no, which no means no. Some people don't get it. I don't care if you're in a relationship with somebody. It don't even matter if you're married to someone. If you say no, it means no. And as a kid, you shouldn't have to say no. No one should not put their hands on you against your will.
Because what we're talking about was not a tea party. You get that, right? When people are snatching people and taking them against their will and doing things that they don't want to come to light, they're not having a tea party with them. This was not just a conversation. This was not something that was consensual. Clearly, that's why they're hiding it. You get that, right? Okay. So for those people who are like, well, that doesn't exist. That can't be real. It can't be like that. Do you understand what's happening? Do you understand the PTSD that's built on what's happening? Do you understand the night terrors, the trauma, the experiences that are out of this world, what actual triggers mean? Do you understand what's going on? This wasn't just something little that happened. Okay? What I can tell you doesn't explain the things that happened in the first 5 minutes, the first 10 minutes. If you went somewhere recently, just think about what you just did in the past 24 to 48 hours. Can you explain to me exactly what happened every single minute? No, because some things just happen so fast and so slow all at the same time, right? So the things that you're hearing right now that's coming from survivors, do you understand that you're not even touching or scratching at a crumb of a situation that happened the first 5 minutes, the first 10 minutes? You don't get it. Okay? DID, dissociative identity disorder, comes from when somebody has been so brutally tortured that your mind has to go somewhere. You don't just walk away from torture the same way you don't walk away from a gang life, the same way you don't just walk away from being a drug dealer, the same way you don't walk away from a secret society. You don't just walk away from these type of things. Okay? disorder, you would just have to dig. There's a few different types, but
Well, it's actually more than that. This dissociative identity disorder is kind of an organic thing where something happened traumatically that caused your psyche to split. MK Ultra is when they've done that on purpose and deliberately. A lot of survivors get dragged about, well, they're lying, or they didn't say this, or they said this last time, and now they're saying something else. It's because you don't understand how that shit works. Everybody knows what MK Ultra is. You know the term, but you don't know what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. You don't know what it's about. Allie has over 200 altars. So each altar holds different memories of different people. She's told you about Oprah and the Bidens and the Obamas, and she's told you about Diddy. But that purpose and deliberately. A lot of survivors get dragged about, well, they're lying, or they didn't say this, or they said this last time, and now they're saying something else. It's because you don't understand how that shit works. Everybody knows what MK Ultra is. You know the term, but you don't know what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. You don't know what it's about. Allie has over 200 altars. So each altar holds different memories of different people. She's told you about Oprah and the Bidens and the Obamas, and she's told you about Diddy. But that's coming from 5 or 6 altars. She has over 200 altars that have different memories of different incidents. So be really easy before you start calling survivors liars, and before you start making up your own story in your head of how you think things went and how things go. It's nothing like that. So be careful how you come at survivors and how you try to discredit survivors, because that's not true. If you're at a party, if you're at a family gathering and you're in the kitchen, you're going to have memories of what was going on in the kitchen. And if your husband is outside in the barbecue talking to the men, he's going to have a different perception of that same party, even though you guys are both in the same place. That's kind of how DID works.
stand at a 4-way intersection, and everybody on each intersection is going to have a different story.
Okay. Basically, if there was a car accident on a 4-way intersection, everybody's going to hear the crash and know there was an accident, but depending on where you're standing is going to be your perception of that. So you wouldn't call somebody on the north corner a liar because they recall it a little bit different than the person on the south corner. Everybody knows there was an accident, but everybody has a different perception. So be very easy with how you treat the survivors. They are telling you the truth. Let me go ahead while I'm still talking. Somebody was like, "Gee, just give her a lie detector." I don't believe her. Give her a lie detector test. A lie detector test is a pseudoscience. It's not something that they take into the courts, because it can be, the way it can be beat for survivors is what something might happen to one survivor.
I'm sorry. Good afternoon, Batty. I missed your comment.
That doesn't happen to another, and the other might not have any memory of it whatsoever. So anybody that has DID or MK Ultra can beat a lie detector test, hands down, because you would just switch out the altars. And if you're trying to say, well, altar A started a fire, and we're gonna prove it with a lie detector test, all you need to do is bring up altar B that had
Hello, Batty.
nothing to do with it, has no memory of it, and they're going to beat the lie detector test. So before you start spewing opinions and think you have everything wrapped up in a nice little package, you don't know what you're talking about. Slow your roll. All right, I'm done.
Good afternoon. How are you doing from Atlanta? As I said before, I do not own rights to this content. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Section 107 of the Copyright Act, the legal doctrine of fair use, which allows the unlicensed use of copyrighted protected works for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching. This is Ali Carr story. I do not own rights to any of this content. Good afternoon. I'm just showing a few clips of Ali Carter's story about trafficking, assault, and it's her story. For those who don't know, you may have to go back to the beginning, but I've been following her for some years, and many people, they really don't believe it, but I do.
Hey, beautiful. Good to see you too. All right. I love you all. 90s. It's been a minute. Warriors, I'm talking to you. For those who don't know me, my name is Allison Leilani Carter. My mom is right here, Shelly Carter. I flipped the camera. I know you've seen her face. I moved these right now. I'm messing up myself, okay? So, she's right here. Let's skip over the pleasantries, shall we? We got a lot to unpack. And tomorrow we will be live again because I feel like I'm not, there's so much. There's just so much to unpack. Um, Damn it. Drop my cap in the crack. For those who don't know what I mean by that, the console that sits right here, this little crack. My cap just in the abyss. Anywho, I just refound you. Yay! Yes, this is my new account. Okay. 2025, remember?
Give me a
Let's
second.
talk about it. We told a lot of people we're gonna dip. In 2025, we said we were going to dip around December. Yes, 2025. Remember? We got a call from an investigator. They said, "Hey, can you guys wait a minute? Let's do some things." That was truth be told. We all on the same page, right? A smear campaign began for a year. It's still going. Now, with that, there were people threatened. There were children exploited from dance kids of mine, from dance kids that stood with me in 2024. There were random people that were targeted. I don't know if you would like to comment here, but if you can comment below this video when this video is over, if you were one of those people that were targeted, random people, random people's homes that were addresses were posted, place of work was messed with, so many things. Now, we're going to talk about it tomorrow, but a lot of this that you're seeing with Factz and everything that's going on, we told you guys. I don't know if you guys can go back to a post that we just made. And we just told you there's going to be a turn of events coming very quickly. They're here. It's right now. Where I said everything that's going to happen, the misinformation, the people screaming so loud, they're not going to hear the truth. It started. So we've all failed a very big group project in life all together as a nation. Can we please pull together right here? Because everybody got played. But let's start with this smear campaign first. I got a call that there is a real court case going on. I thought it was a lie. I thought it was a distraction. I thought that it was bullshit, to be honest with you. It was not. I didn't pray before we came on here. Jesus, please take the wheel. Protect us all in Jesus' name. Okay. It's not. It's real. Now, here's the thing. The people that were in the middle of the smear campaign that threatened people's children, that were, I think this cyber mob, if you look it up, it's called cyber stalking. We are the definition of the biggest cyber crime. It's called a cyber mob. It is illegal. And we have made numerous FBI reports along with the other FBI reports that were made. And
Good afternoon if I missed anyone.
regards to all the other situations that we've been through in life. Okay? But I don't know if Cash Patel is going to see those when he can't see the burn bags. All right? The problem is, though, but Cash Patel, I'm talking to you, sir. We sent you an FBI report again, if you could take a look at that.
Okay.
All right. Hello. Let's have a little conversation, shall we? I think it's time to have this conversation. Hello, everybody. Hi. I'm hot right now, so I'm giving a fair warning. I'm hot. I'm really annoyed. I'm fuming. So I know that a lot of people are understanding, and y'all know I love Jesus, but I also feel like Jesus flipped tables, okay? And I'm about to Old Testament hand some people, all right? So I'm just gonna let you know right now. I love God, but some people are pissing me off, okay? Really, really pissing me off. Because we're talking about children. We are talking about children, and people are underreacting to the amount of we're talking about when it comes to children. Okay? So you bear with me, and please help me if you can. Share this everywhere so everybody gets this together. Okay, now there is a fake account on TikTok. It's going under the real Allie Carter. Yeah. And it's a part of the smear campaign. That is not me. It is taking clips of what I said, just like the smear campaign, and it's twisting shit that I said and making it into something it's not. This fake account has so many followers that people think it's me. So let me tell you what I think, because there's plenty of me, all right? I don't need more of me. Here's the thing. I know you're watching. The predator behind this account, I see you. I'm waiting on the world to see your bullshit. I know that you're about to snatch this video from Facebook. Hello. Hi. How you doing? Okay, there's enough of me. I wouldn't have had an issue with you if you were just sharing the truth with your own damn opinion by just sharing the truth. But you decided to use me and traffic my pain and my voice. And you wonder what that's called? It's called a predator. That's called a trafficker. Okay? So now somebody has taken clips and twisted it and turned it. And the latest clip that they took, they put on there that I said that Trump was never on the island. Okay, let's stop. Because before we get into the book before we get into the book of what we're doing with this energy towards Trump, I just want to talk about it for a second. I am not defending anybody in a political party. Not one. I'm not defending adults. I stand for the children because I was one of those children that was in this situation. In underground tunnels, on islands, in people's evil hands. I was one of those children. There's people asking me if I've seen the files. I'm in the files. And I've been telling you that for years.
Let me ask you a question. Let's keep the same energy. Because for sake, we're talking about the children. And what's irritating me as a survivor is the fact that I keep gotta come in here and telling you that, and people are going off on me, and not the same bandwagon is rolled out for the predators. Not the same bandwagon is rolled out for the mainstream media that deserves to tell you the truth. It's on them. That is their job to tell you the truth, but they haven't, have they? Because that's who the clients are. Notice who the hell is quiet. Have you heard Obama point you towards the files? At any time, have you heard Obama? Is there a post, one, from Barack Obama pointing you towards the files? Nope. Keep the same energy. Because for sake, we're talking about the children. And what's irritating me as a survivor is the fact that I keep gotta come in here and telling you that, and people are going off on me, and not the same bandwagon is rolled out for the predators. Not the same bandwagon is rolled out for the mainstream media that deserves to tell you the truth. It's on them. That is their job to tell you the truth, but they haven't, have they? Because that's who the clients are. Notice who the hell is quiet. Have you heard Obama point you towards the files? At any time, have you heard Obama? Is there a post, one, from Barack Obama pointing you towards the files? Nope. Is there one from the Clintons pointing you towards the files? Nope. Is there one from the Bushes pointing you towards the files? Nope. Is there one from Nancy Pelosi pointing you towards the files? Nope. Check. Now, when you look at it, the only thing that I've ever said about Trump is the fact that this man has pointed people back towards the children. I don't care if you hate him. If you hate him, listen the fuck up. Because after this video, if you still don't get it, delete me. Block me. Hate me. Get in line with the smear campaign. I'll get your number. It's long. The line is wrapped around buildings and around the nation. So if you hate me, get in line. I don't give a My stance will not change. My stance about the children will not change. Because I was a child, and not anybody gave a damn about who was torturing me. Nobody cared about who was assaulting me. Nobody cared about who tried to take my soul. Nobody cared about who took pieces of my body that I can't get back. Nobody gave a about that and what political side they were on. Nobody. Files? At any time, have you heard Obama? Is there a post, one, from Barack Obama pointing you towards the files? Nope. Is there one from the Clintons pointing you towards the files? Nope. Is there one from the Bushes pointing you towards the files? Nope. Is there one from Nancy Pelosi pointing you towards the files? Nope. Check. Now, when you look at it, the only thing that I've ever said about Trump is the fact that this man has pointed people back towards the children. I don't care if you hate him. If you hate him, listen the fuck up. Because after this video, if you still don't get it, delete me. Block me. Hate me. Get in the line with the smear campaign. I'll get your number. It's long. The line is wrapped around buildings and around the nation. So if you hate me, get in line. I don't give a My stance will not change. My stance about the children will not change. Because I was a child, and not anybody gave a damn about who was torturing me. Nobody cared about who was assaulting me. Nobody cared about who tried to take my soul. Nobody cared about who took pieces of my body that I can't get back. Nobody gave a about that and what political side they were on. Nobody.
Unfortunately, this young lady cannot have children because of all the things that were done to her. In my opinion, she never even had a chance to be a child. And that's unacceptable.
We are talking about children. Are you going to take fault? I told you from the start that everybody is guilty. Red, blue, purple, green, black, white, brown, everybody's guilty. It's the same wings of the same damn bird, right and left. Are we going to get mad at you for sending your children to school with Life Touch? Do you know that Life Touch is in the files? You dressed your child up. You sent them to picture day. Did you know that there was a predator there? Did you know they were collecting a catalog of your children? Did you know that? Yes or no? Yes Picture Day. Chuck E. Cheese is in those files. Did you know that? Who's at fault here? Picture Day. Chuck E. Cheese is in those files. Did you know that? Who's at fault here? You took your child to Chuck E. Cheese. You let them run around a place and you let them take pictures of your child. You set them in that little Chucky cart and that little black and white picture came out and boom, they have a picture of your child that's made into a skull. Whose fault is that? Huh? Who we mad at? Who we mad at? This has been key.
Okay, that content was brought to you by Allie Carter. This is her truth. I don't believe in selling lies. I believe in seeking the facts.
Working timeline. They start at 3:23 p.m. They're saying it's unreasonable. And then it gives a working timeline. They start at 3:23 p.m. They're saying it's unresolved. No continuous chronology established in the supplied package. 3:23, supplied vertical screen recording displays a phone clock. And then it goes to show you that. User identified this as the start of the critical gap. This is the critical gap. That's a little bit later here, right? Between 3:23, 4:27, and 4:31. User identifies this as the start of the critical gap. Exact time and corroborating source are not contained in the supplied media package, okay? And then 4:27, a second supplied vertical screen recording displays a phone, a clock, 4:27, while showing boats, people in the anchorage. Time indicator, potentially highly relevant. And then it gives you the name MP4, what is it, B3, whatever, that is the image. No.
This is Don Lemon. I don't know if you follow him. Section 107 of the Copyright Act, the legal doctrine for fair use, which allows the unlicensed use of copyrighted protected works for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only.
That they can refer to. And then 4:31, the boat on which Nolan arrived at Horn Island departed at 16:30, as we said, per the user supply timeline. The supply package does not include the underlying GPS engine AIS record proving this time. Again, this is their analysis. Nothing has been proved yet. It's still even this analysis, this report has to be corroborated and investigated, and people are going to go through it. And yes, I believe investigators are going to use this. Okay? Asserted hinge, underlying record not supplied. Okay. So then 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, Matthew Lamp states a passenger was pretty certain a person was part of a group that was almost fighting around 5 p.m. He says the Bertram with blue top left shortly afterward and fast.
Donald Trump and Republicans in Washington are turning back the clock.
Many ads on YouTube, many ads. I'm not interested in them. In fact, I don't even look at TV too often.
Not believed to be a factor at this time, but they don't know. The person was part of a group that was almost fighting around 5 p.m. He says the Bertram with blue top left shortly afterward and fast. Not believed to be a factor at this time, but they don't know. It is secondhand in its social media claim, they say. 5 p.m. conflicting. Melissa Thomas disputes the identification, states a different young man was with the group, and says they spoke to the boys, one of whom had an entire vodka bottle. Conflicting social media claim. And yes, the way this case is being handled does not seem normal. SR Warren, 103. Go to the next one. So we've heard about these. We've heard about the fights. We've heard about the arguments. And then it shows New York correspondence later uses 1800 GCST, which is Central Standard Time, 6 p.m., with the origin vessel GPS data for SAR sonar planning. This should not be interpreted automatically as a sighting time. Documented search planning time. 7:30. Caitlin Bouchard states that they were parked next to the group and he was nowhere in sight when they left at 7:30. Social media claim. 4:30, 4:50 p.m., 6:50 CST. New supplied shoreline photograph shows the crowded anchorage. Frontier Bay, that's a boat. Boat number 2 is no longer in its earlier original position. Matching the positional change seen in the later flight video still. User supply, capture time, direct visual configuration. So if this is from an aerial, that is something that is has more validity than a social media claim. Although witnesses are very important. Witnesses are very important. And then we have the, as we have said before, as they were pointing out, the critical interval, Andy, which is number 6 here. The critical interval, the period requiring the most scrutiny. As I said, this is the most important thing. The period requiring the most scrutiny is the interval between the last independently corroborated sighting of Nolan and the asserted 4:31 p.m. Triton departure. This is the critical time. The 3:23 and 4:27 visual material may bracket or illuminate part of that interval, but only in the displayed clock times if the displayed clock times can be authenticated as corresponding to the original event recordings. The supplied media does not close the gap because they don't know if this 4:27, if it was accurate, 3:23, they don't know which they, I would imagine, would have captured perhaps from video that they have gotten or from an aerial or from wherever they got it, okay? That is the critical point right there that I have been saying. So scroll up. Let's scroll a little bit. All right, so we have all that. We got the boat 1, we've got boat X, we got, okay, we know their movement, their occupancy, they've been scanning and tracking all of that. Keep going, okay? Because I want to get to some of the images. And then they have what the Triton is doing. They have it. So here we go. This chair is squeaky, so don't think there's something else. Okay, so here's the thing. This is the comparative configuration. You see all those people in the water, and that's what they call the vessel cluster. Now you see why I don't like Now you see why I don't like the clusters. Look at that. That's too many people in the water. Too many people in neck deep water. Too much can go on. You lose track of your buddy. You don't know where it is. It could be, let me just be honest, it could be under a boat. Could be stuck in something. Could be stuck in an anchor. You have no idea with all of these things. And that is, okay, so that's 5A. Source annotation shows boat X between boat number 1 and boat number 2. Okay? And then you have the fight video. Boat X is missing. Boat 1 point of view. This was taken from boat 1. And that's the point of view from boat 1. I want to look at these pictures. Keep going. These pictures are very important. That's where I think you're going to get a lot of the information. And then you have, that's the fight video that everyone is talking about, right? Apparently there's a fight. Remember the Give Me My Effing Phone? They said they couldn't tell who it was. The guy said it was him. And then someone else said, no, it was Nolan, right? Still, don't know for sure. But the friend said, no, I was the one saying, give me my phone. And then there are others who have disputed that. On board the Triton. So this is Nolan. This is geospatial timeline. He is on board the Titan with one of his friends. The Triton with one of his friends. And then there is, you can see the Triton right there. The back of it, you see a dark-skinned man on the back. It looks like, sometimes these kids are so tan, you can't tell. They're out in the sun all day. And then there's the Palm Beach, which is another boat. And then there is boat number 3. Okay, keep scrolling. Let's go through this. And it tells you the photographs, right? It says the Bay Frontier position changes. Sources a newly supplied photograph is represented as having been taken at 1650 CST, which would be after the 1631. So if this is 1650, it's after that, is that Nolan? 19 minutes after the user supplied 1631 departure of the boat on which Nolan arrived at Horn Island. Key visual observations. Frontier Bay, boat number 2 is no longer in the earlier original position in figure 5A. This is consistent with the later flight video still where the vessel configuration was likewise changed. Analytical significance here. So this is where they're going to say. If the 1650 capture time is authenticated, the photograph established an upper bound time. Frontier Bay had moved from its earlier position by 1650. It does not establish the exact minute of the movement, destination, occupants, or any connection between that movement and Nolan's disappearance. Nolan possibly in the photo, but not confirmed. You know, we all look alike.
There are still rumors, Don, that I am your son. So maybe at some point we need to do a board style fraternity test where you get the result. You are the father or you are not the father.
Automatically give institutions the benefit of the doubt. We do. The history of this country is all real. It is earned. And it is impossible to separate that history from the way many people see this case. And at this time, history cannot answer what happened to Nolan Wells. It can provide us with a roadmap, perhaps, with some knowledge about what could have happened, where we are now. Because look, Reverend Sharpton said something the first day at the funeral. He said, I think it was at the funeral or at the press conference, where he said, I think it was at the press conference, no, at the funeral. Your medical history, when you go to the doctor, your doctor asks you about your medical history, right? If you're going to a new doctor. Or if they'll say, do you have a history of this? What about your family? What is it? What medications are you on? So that history of Mississippi is an indicator for how law enforcement there or officials might handle things.